All right guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to be talking about something that I think a lot of people skip over. They like to dive right into the meat and potatoes of how do I get a list? How do I send a mailer? How do I close a deal? When I find it is much more helpful to actually learn the workflow, right? Learn the workflow of what does it really look like after you send a mailer and the deals come in? What are you gonna do? Because this gives you confidence, okay? And as Tony Robbins says, clarity is power. I believe the same thing, confidence, right? When you're confident about something, you're more likely to take action on it. So I'm gonna unpack this here first before we dive into the meat and potatoes, if you will. We have a resource called the intake workflow or something similar to that that you'll have access to. You can download right around here somewhere. That's the resource I'm gonna be using as we go through this video here. Okay, so if you open that up, you'll see the first step in the process is a new lead, okay? So we're gonna talk here in a bit about how we generate these new leads. But again, I wanna give you the confidence to know what's gonna happen once the lead comes in, right? And you'll have this to refer back to, and we're creating videos on just about every one of these steps that needs one. So you'll have access to this, of course, for when those deals do start hitting, but I wanna walk you through for the course to get a high level, okay? So let's jump right into new lead, okay? That's gonna come from your marketing efforts, right? Like I just said, it's gonna come from your mailers. If you're getting more advanced with it, it might come from texting or some other sort of marketing, Facebook ads if you're really into that. What we find is mail is the most predictable, best way to get deals. There are definitely others, but especially if you're new, I say don't go out and try and reinvent the wheel. We consistently get deals around every 1,500 to 2,000 letters we send. So over the long haul, that number will probably go up a bit, right? And we'll always keep our finger on the trigger, but as far as what I see is most effective right now, it's direct mail. So anyhow, direct mail comes in, your new lead comes in, right? This needs to go into some sort of system, all right? So in our mastermind, we have two full courses on how to set up our intake acquisition system, and we have a full course on how to set up our sales system. But the truth is you don't need to get super fancy with it. You could do this in a Google Sheet. I use Trello, and that's what I teach on in our mastermind is Trello. That's kind of how we build everything. It's just kind of a left to right, you drag and drop. But if you have a different CRM, if you're already using something different, I don't really care what it is. I don't even have a referral or affiliate code for you. Really, you just need to have it somewhere. So your leads are gonna come in, right? The second step after we do that is we always ensure we have all the information. Okay, so we'll talk about this a little bit more in a different video on what kind of due diligence steps do we need and what are the things we check for. But we make sure we have all the information, and then we move on to our third check, which I call the facts check, okay? FACTS, right? Good, handy little pun there. But it's really I call it the 5-minute check. And once you get good at this, and especially if you use the tools that I show you in this course, you can get through these checks in 3, 5, 10 minutes, okay? Now I'll go over the facts check a little more detail in another video, but on a high level, it's the floodplain, it's access, it's comps, it's the taxes, are there a bunch of back taxes, and is it sloped? Is it too sloped to be used? We'll talk about that in another video, but once the lead comes in, you get all the info, you have the seller's info, the property info, then you run it through this check, okay? Then after that, you got to comp it. So once you get through that and it passes all your kind of initial red flags, which we'll talk about a little more, then you're going to set the price and send the offer. Okay. And again, we'll talk about pricing a lot more as we go through this video. I just want you to understand the idea. So once you go through your initial due diligence, you're going to set your price and you're going to negotiate, right? It says send offer. Really what that means is that you're going to negotiate. You're going to see if they're interested. If not, you may renegotiate the price. The deal may die right there. Who knows? But at this point, you are going to send an offer. Now, through this module, we're going to talk a lot more about different types of offers to send. So you'll be able to check that out as you go through. Another one that I think is really important that a lot of people miss and lose deals on is this box I have here that says nudge, okay? The nudge box, in my opinion, is one of the most important tasks in your business. And this is because, as you'll see, and as you start sending more mail and doing more deals, you're gonna have a lot of leads that back up, where they may have expressed interest, but you never really connected or got the deals done. So what we do in my business is we do a process. It's a 15-day process. And if they don't get in touch with us over the 15 days, then we normally move them into like a back burner type status. But our 15-day process is we try and contact them on days 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9, 9, 12, and 15. And as your team grows, and a tip for anybody watching this that may have a larger team, after it moves past the third touch, we move it to our less experienced folks. So we move it to our overseas VAs, or we move it to somebody who, for lack of better words, is better just there to gauge motivation, right? So, but if it's just you at the beginning, it's just you. So that's how we do it. You can also automate that into CRMs and systems. Personally, if you have the bandwidth, I think on the acquisition side, the less automations, the better, because really people are looking for a personal touch and for you to help them with a problem, as you saw in the last video. But that is the general sequence we follow. All right, and so the final one is we get the signed purchase agreement. All right, after that, you've done it, you've gone through, you've got your price set, they've signed the contract, you signed the contract, and you're ready to close. We'll talk later in this module about different closings, but simply, you're probably going to hand it over to a title company and let them do most of the work for you. So don't let that scare you if you're new. And so that's the workflow, okay? So that's what our team follows on a high level. Once leads come in, we go through, that's a whole job in itself, is making sure we have all the info, because things come from different sources like email, and it comes through your website, and it comes through the phone. And so you need a place to gather all that. Gather all that and get all the info listed out. And we're going to give you a resource that's all the info that we go through to list it out. I believe it's in the facts check module. So you don't got to search too hard for it, but this is the info we recommend you get put into some sort of system or CRM. After that, you're going to go through the initial red flags check. You're going to set your price, and then you're going to negotiate with the sellers. Now there's a lot of nuance to this and a lot of things you'll learn along the way, but on a high level, this is what happens after you send out the mail, after you do the hard work. This is really the easier work. The hardest work is just getting going and getting your first mailers out. So hope this gives you some confidence. In the next few videos, we'll be unpacking more specifics about how we actually go through this, and we'll see you there.